Buying a home is stressful enough, and when you start to see all these fees and costs pop up out of nowhere, it becomes even more stressful. You start to get cold feet and you're like, oh my God, I didn't know this was gonna happen.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. My name is Jonathan. This is Trevor. We're the Alamo City Living Team, and here we talk about everything that you want to know about living in San Antonio and the entire surrounding area. We're also licensed real estate agents here, which means not only do we enjoy making videos for you guys, we would love even more to help you with all of your real estate purchase needs. So the number popping up on the screen is how you get a hold of us. Please feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. We would love to help you and your family make a smooth move here to San Antonio. All right, guys, there is a lot more to the price of the home than just what you see when you're looking to buy it. There's a lot of fees that are associated with that purchase price. So today we're going to talk about what those fees are and fees that you need to be aware of. The first fee, not really a fee, but money that you're going to have to make sure that you have, is going to be your down payment. The down payment on a home can depend on the loan type that you're going to be using. For instance, if you're using a VA loan, there is no down payment, which is amazing.
Huge
now,
perk.
An
Huge perk.
FHA loan is going to require about 3.5% down, and a conventional loan can be anywhere between 5% up to 20% down on the house. The down payment is one of those things that a lot of people understand when it comes to buying a house. Sometimes people have saved for their down payment for a long time before they finally decide that they want to purchase. Sometimes people are not very aware of how much money they need for a down payment. So it's really important that you speak to a lender, speak to a real estate agent as early as possible to discuss different loan types that you might qualify for and the down payment requirement for that loan type.
All right, guys, the next fee that we're going to dive into is something called earnest money. Now, a lot of people refer to this as good faith money, right? Which essentially shows your good faith and that you're serious about purchasing the home. Now, as a good rule of thumb, earnest money is about 1% of the purchase price of the home. That's not always the case, but a lot of the times it's about 1%. Now, this money gets turned in within 72 hours of your contract getting accepted and the seller saying, yes, we're good to go. I want to go with your contract. Let's purchase your home. What happens is you turn this money in to the title company who's going to be in charge of this particular transaction. Now, what they do is they hold on to this money all the way until the end of it. And should everything go smoothly and you continue on with the purchase of this home, it goes towards your closing cost at the end of the transaction. Now, that being said, if the buyer does back out and they back out or they breach the contract for whatever reason, they are at risk for losing this earnest money.
Another fee that you're going to provide right up front with your earnest payment is what's called an option fee. Here in the state of Texas, and this is something that is not familiar with a lot of people in other parts of the country, but here in the state of Texas, we have what's called an option period. This is a set period of time that you can negotiate with the seller of when you want to have an inspection done on the property, and it allows you time to back out of the contract without losing your earnest payment. This is something that you are not going to get back as the buyer of the home. You're going to pay this fee to the seller to allow you time to do your due diligence on the property. It can range anywhere from $100 up to $500 depending on how many days of option you want. Typically, an option period will be anywhere between 5 and 10 days. This is typically about the amount of time you need really to hire an inspector to come in and look over the house from top to bottom and give you time to decide whether or not you still want to go through with the purchase or not. The big takeaway here when it comes to earnest money and option fee is that your option fee you are not going to get back as the buyer regardless of whether or not you make it to closing. The earnest money, however, will be contingent on whether or not you as the buyer continue on with the contract or you breach the contract. Or if the seller does something to breach the contract, then you would get your earnest money back.
Now, the next cost we're going to discuss today is the inspection. Now, Johnny kind of touched on it a little bit when we were discussing the option fee, but you're going to need to get a home inspection on the home that you're purchasing and make sure everything's working properly. Now, this can range anywhere from $500 to $700, and it kind of just depends on the size of the home. And this is generally done in the option period very early on after the contract is accepted to give you plenty of time to back out if you don't actually want to follow through with the transaction.
Some of the things that can affect the amount of money that you pay for your inspection can be whether or not you use a VA loan, for instance. A VA loan will require an additional inspection called a termite inspection. So if you hire an inspector to come out and do the inspection on the property that you want to purchase, you may have to add the additional cost of the termite inspection. Also, if there are any other issues or concerns that you have with the property that a general inspector does not cover, say for instance you want to go a little bit deeper into whether or not the roof is good, you would then have to hire a roofer or say a plumber to do additional inspections on that property to make sure that those specific items are up to standard that you want.
Next up is the survey. Now, a lot of the times, depending on how recently the home was purchased by the sellers of the home, they might already have a survey available. Essentially what a survey is, it's a map or a blueprint of the property that shows your boundaries and lot lines. Almost all lenders are going to require some type of survey to be available, whether it's furnished by the seller or the buyer decides to buy a new one.
All right, guys, the next fee is going to be the appraisal fee. Now, the appraisal is what your lender is going to use to determine whether or not you can get the loan. The lender wants to know if the house is worth the purchase price. So they're going to order an appraisal, and this guy's going to come out here. He's going to run a whole bunch of numbers and do a whole bunch of diddly-doos, and he's going to let the lender know, yes, this house is good to go, or no, this house is not valued at what your client wants to purchase it at. The cost of an appraisal can range anywhere from $500 to $600. Typically, $600 is about how much it's going to cost you.
All right, guys, the final costs that we're going to discuss today are closing costs, which I'm sure everybody's heard. Now, these are going to include prorated taxes, insurance, lender fees, and title fees. That being said, these are just fees and costs that are acquired when you're closing your home. Generally speaking, they're a tad over 2% of the purchase price of the whole home. So each situation is going to be different, again, depending on the home that you're purchasing.
And this is really important to understand because we get a lot of calls from individuals who really don't understand the difference between a down payment on a home and closing costs. These are completely different sets of money. You're gonna need a down payment when you first want to purchase a house. You're going to need that down payment. That down payment can be pretty expensive. It might be $17,000 just for a down payment, or higher depending on the price of the house, right? 3.5%, 5%, 10%, or 20% depending on the loan type that you're going to be using. So the down payment is substantial. But when you are closing on the house, the day that you're going in there to sign all the documents and pick up your keys, there are going to be costs called closing costs, and that's going to be an additional amount of money, like Trevor said, possibly 2% or more of the purchase price. So it's really important that when you're planning on purchasing a home, you are really doing your research and trying to figure out about how much money you're going to need for a down payment and how much you're going to need to go towards closing costs. One of the things that we discuss with our clients all the time, especially in a market like today, closing costs are some of those things that you may be able to have a seller assist you with. Right now, homes are staying on the market a lot longer than they were 6 months ago. And those sellers, when they're really wanting to move their property and they're trying to get out of there, they're willing to do a lot more than they were 6 months ago, Definitely. Including helping the buyer with their closing costs. If you're purchasing new construction, which is really awesome right now, there are builders that are offering incredible incentives to buyers to purchase a home in that neighborhood.
We've seen some offering $10,000 towards closing costs, 4% of the total price of the home towards closing costs. Lots of incredible incentives right now.
So these are some of the things that you definitely want to speak to your lender about, your real estate agents about, And if you don't have a lender, we work with an amazing lender partner who we'd love to get you in touch with. He can explain these things in detail because this is what he does every single day. And this will just help better prepare you for purchasing a home.
So just to reiterate, it's critical that you guys align yourself with the right people who are going to make this process as smooth as possible to help you get in your home.
And to make it easy for you to do that, we're going to leave our number right here on the screen. Give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. We really would love to answer any questions that you have.
But if you plan on moving in the next few weeks or even the next few months, don't hesitate to reach out. We would love the opportunity to help you and your family make a smooth move here to San Antonio. Before we let you go, if you could please just hit that subscribe button and like this video. It helps other people who are searching for this kind of content find it just a little bit easier. Guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.